Okay. All right, at 10 a.m., we're calling our meeting to order. It's Tuesday, November 16th. Would you please rise with us for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all very much. At this time, we'll accept public comment for items that do not appear on today's agenda. Is there any public comment at this time? Please, yes. And if you'll be willing to state your name and the municipality in which you are from. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Connie Martin, and I live in Patton Township. And I have with me Ann Glazer, who is also a member of the Pennsylvania Prison Society, and she lives in Potter Township. I'm here as a passionate resident of Center County, and I have a sincere concern for my neighbors. I'm aware that Janet Irons shared information with you about the successes the state correctional institutions are having when they implement vaccinate or test weekly at their facilities. I also know that you asked Warden Shell to investigate what other counties are doing about implementing a similar policy. I have information from Allegheny, Bucks, Montgomery, and Philadelphia counties if you'd like me to share that later. I know this board is the ultimate decision maker when it comes to county policies. Therefore, I want to make one last request to make a change in the procedures at the Center County Correctional Facility. I acknowledge that some of these recommendations are already in place. The following is a call directly from the Pennsylvania Prison Society and our local chapter. Expand efforts to safely reduce the number of people in custody, those who are unsentenced and parole violators that are not a threat to our community. Continue to offer COVID-19 vaccinations to all people in custody and the staff at the jail. Implement weekly rapid testing of all staff that come in contact with people in custody until they are vaccinated. Require that the jail publicly report prison testing results and deaths to those in custody in an easy-to-access way. Test and quarantine every new person entering custody. Eliminate the medical copay for access to health care while in custody, whether it's specific to COVID-19 or not. I'll close with a comment made by the chair of the Board of Commissioners in Bucks County. She said, I quote, "When you work for government, your job comes with an inherent duty and commitment to protect and serve the public. Getting vaccinated strengthens our community's resistance to this virus, keeps everyone safe, keeps kids in school, and keeps businesses open." Thank you. I have a copy to submit for the record.
Thank you very much, Connie. Thank you. Thank you. Any other public comment at this time? Okay. We will be sure to take up your comments and respond to them in a thorough way. And also at the prison board meeting, we'll have some feedback on that. But also there's something on the agenda I think you'll be very happy to see as well today in related to your comments. Okay.
Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Connie. Thank you. Okay. We are seeing no other public comment at this time. We will accept public comment for each item as it's under consideration. Any additions to our agenda today? Okay, we're seeing none. We will look for a motion to approve our minutes from our November 9th Board of Commissioners meeting.
Motion to approve the minutes from the Board of Commissioners meeting.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any final discussion on the minutes? Hearing and seeing none. All in favor say aye.
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 The motion is carried. Okay. So today we have one invitation for bid. It's for our Center County roof replacement project. And we're going to turn it over now to our Administrator Margaret Gray to lead that. And if we have any guests, we'll leave those introductions up to Margaret. So please.
Okay, thanks very much. This morning, in accordance with the county code, we are opening up these bids in public session. It is required that each bid be signed, that there is an original copy, original document, along with 6 copies, an electronic copy, a bid bond, and then the bid itself. Again, this is an invitation for bids for the roof replacement of our Willowbank building. So we have 5 responses that came in within the time frame to the controller's office, and I'll start with the first one. Bid is from R.H. Marcon, located in State College. original. Six copies are here, an electronic copy is here, and I'm looking for a signature. And there's a signature on the original document, and bid bond. And a bid bond.
Are there a number of options to this, or is it just one straight-up price?
I believe that it's a straight-up price for the Willowbank building. Some of the bidders may have also included a portion of the courthouse roof as well. This particular one is listed for an amount of $1,008,617. And I'll need to look at it more closely to see if it is for both of those buildings.
That was 1,800,000.
$1,008,617.
Okay.
I'm sorry?
This is a different vendor.
Oh, I am sorry. Okay,
Okay.
so I thought that these were attached. So this
Okay.
is for the second person. This is David Maines.
Okay.
Located in Lewistown. There are roof replacement discs here. I need to go back to the first one to give you the amount.
Okay.
That amount is $1,082,635. So that was for Marcone out of State College, $1,082,635. The second bid is from David Maines in Lewistown. There is an original. There are electronic copies. It is signed. And looking for a bid bond. Sorry, this takes too long. There are 6 copies, so the only missing item is the bid bond itself. And there is a bid bond from Liberty Mutual Insurance Company. Okay, number 3 is Heidler Roofing, located in York, Pennsylvania. There's an electronic copy. There's an original. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 copies. signed. The original is signed. There is a bid bond. And the amount is
No, it's fine.
$1,572,000.
Excuse me, who's the name?
The Heidler Roofing
Thank you.
from York, Pennsylvania. The next bidder is Hauk Service Incorporated from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. There's no easy way to do this. Okay, there is an electronic copy. There's an original and 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 copies. The original is signed. There's a bid bond. And the amount of the bid is $1,239,700. And the last bid is from Altoona Roofing and Sheet Metal, LLC, located in Hollidaysburg, Pennsylvania. So for the Willowbank building, they've split theirs into two pieces, Willowbank bid and a bid for the courthouse. The Willowbank has an original. And
Making sure they don't get sorted together, I guess.
3, 4, 5, 6. So this is the original for the Willowbank building. It is signed. The bid amount is $805,750. There is a bid bond. So there is an original and 6 copies to go with it. Original, 6 copies, it's signed. Electronic copies are right here. Then they divided theirs into 2 parts, so there's a separate envelope for the courthouse itself. The others combined. You get that. So there's an original for the court.
Right next to the wheel.
There's an original for the courthouse. It's signed. The amount of the courthouse roof is $113,500. There is a bid bond. There are electronic copies, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 copies. So that concludes the opening of the bids.
And just to confirm, Margaret, at this point, it's our understanding that 1 through 4 are a combined bid, each of those amounts, and the 5th bidder is the only one that actually broke out the totals. Okay.
So you would need to combine those 2 numbers.
Okay. Okay, all right, thank you. All right, thank you very much for going through that. Labor intensive, thank you. We have a motion here to look at this for 2 weeks, and then to bring it back to our meeting on Tuesday, November 30th, with a recommendation about how to proceed. Any discussion before we look at that motion?
No, my only question, I'm just hoping that they are broken up, the 5 bids that indicated that there is a breakdown of the 2
I think,
projects. So we're
as
good.
we go through
Yeah.
it, maybe even next week, we could maybe have an update if there's any changes in those amounts, so yeah, we could do that.
Specified for them to do that, so sorry, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Sure.
Great to see 5 bidders on a very large project. Wonderful.
Okay. We look for a motion then to table this for 2 weeks.
Motion to table the invitation for bid for the Center County roof replacement until Tuesday, November 30th.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion, questions, or comments? Yes, please, sir.
I'm sorry, one
Yes.
question. The David and Main's bid, could you repeat that?
The total bid for David Maines, that was the second one.
Second.
Yep.
I think it was 1,008,000 change is what I have down.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Okay.
I have it as 1,008,617. Yeah. Yeah, why don't we verify that? Sure.
Yeah, you want to be precise.
Yeah, there it is.
$1,008,617.
Yep, there we go. Yep. Sure, absolutely. Okay. Seeing no other public comment on this or discussion, we'll take action. All those in favor say aye.
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 The motion is carried. We'll see this back in 2 weeks. Okay, great. Thank you again, Margaret. Okay. Our next item is the American Rescue Plan funding. Please, yeah, please.
Okay, the Board of Commissioners in its recent work session to discuss allocation of ARPA funds considered the amount of $1,000 to provide rental and utilities for the AMI testing site. As you know, we're in a partnership with the Pennsylvania Department of Health, AMI Testing, and the Nittany Mall, and they've graciously, the Nittany Mall allowed us to stay in the site, which is just adjoining the Nittany Mall, and they've asked for some compensation for utilities, which is what this first item represents.
They've been fabulous for that, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. The partnership has been great, and I think it's a very low dollar amount to make sure this site is accessible to the public. So So I think we can go through all three and then take
Okay.
one motion.
The second item is the purchase of rapid COVID-19 tests for our Center County Correctional Facility. Up until now, the tests have been provided by the state, but at this point, we're going through them and we need to purchase. And so this seems to be a good use of our ARPA funding. And so that amount is $13,440.
I think based upon the success of this and how it's utilized, we could see this come back again if we need to replenish this fund. But it's a good start. It's a good tool to have in our toolbox up at the correctional facility, among the other many things that we've done there. But that's one of note. So, yeah. And then we have Fritz Smith, President and CEO from the Happy Valley Adventure Bureau, joining us. And I think at this point we'll turn it over to you, Fritz.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Under here so people can see.
Natalie teed me up here.
Yeah.
So we're going to give a fairly concise summary of the First American Rescue Plan grant that the Board of Commissioners was kind enough to allocate to the Happy Valley Adventure Bureau, and then we'll talk a little bit about potential uses for a second round. So, okay. Doesn't seem to be moving.
There's a slider on the side.
Technical assistance. All right, so just to recap, we showed you when I was here a few months ago all of the different channels that we were going to use that $250,000 grant for. 18 different partners, including a big partnership with the Pennsylvania State Tourism Office, many local stations, as well as outlets in Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. And so it just shows you the scope of projects that you manage when you get into a promotion of this nature. And here are some of the top line results from it. That number one, we delivered 44.3 million impressions to people with images of Happy Valley of Center County. And that was substantially more than what we had contracted for. And a big part of the reason for that is that the Comcast NBC affiliates in Pittsburgh and Philadelphia in particular really did better with their media coverage with their viewership of the Olympics. We had ads running in morning and evening news slots as well as during the Olympics, and the viewership of the Olympics was better than those stations had projected. We did better on the weekends than we had done in 2018 and 2019 from a hotel standpoint. Didn't do as well during the week, and that was certainly a part of our goal, was to try to get people to come during the week. But as we know, most people have their time off on the weekend. So, but we view that as a big part of the success, big sign of success that we actually outperformed 2018 and 2019 on the weekend. We exceeded Pennsylvania and the United States occupancy average rate during the campaign in August. Among similar sized college towns that we measure ourselves against, and I'll show you a chart that shows those towns, we had been performing the worst of that group from April 20 to June 2021, and then during the course of this campaign we actually moved into the middle of that pack. Referrals, website referrals to member sites, where the Happy Valley Adventure Bureau is a membership organization with 350 plus organizations throughout Center County belonging to us, and we sent 320,702 referrals out from our website to those organizations, and 22,000 I'm sorry, 320,702 new website visits as a result of the campaign, and 22,000 referrals, which was substantially over our goal of 10,000. I think one of the most important things that this campaign was revolved around was restoring hospitality jobs. Almost 1,800 people got laid off, people who worked in restaurants and hotels and tourism attractions early on during the COVID pandemic. And trying this campaign, the goal of it was to try to get people back to work, and we believe it was quite successful in that regard. Our hospitality jobs were at 6,500 right before COVID. Got it back up to 6,300, so 97% of pre-COVID level. And quite frankly, we think it would be higher, but as we all know, employers are having a difficult time, not only in that sector, but lots of industries across the country. So that sort of absent workforce right now is a big part of, we think, why we didn't get there. And we generated, again, you could argue that this is the most important statistic, generated about $8 million in new visitor spending, providing a 32-to-1 return on the commissioner's investment. So I think you can rest easy that this was a smart investment. Thanks. Okay, go to the next one. And again, just an overview of what we learned. Broadcast and digital social media each getting about 17.3 to 17.5 million impressions. And the Visit Pennsylvania, that's the State Tourism Office Cooperative Marketing Initiative. They partnered with 15 destinations across Pennsylvania, and our video content that we had across that platform performed the best in terms of click-through rates. So I think that's a big distinction, big honor. Travel Zoo, one of our partnerships was with Travel Zoo. It's a member-based email that gets generated once a week with deals all over the country. We had some great deals and some great video content on that channel, and we thought when we first contracted with Travel Zoo, they told us that spending about 2.5 minutes on our offers and our content on that site would be a good outcome. And turned out they spent 7 minutes and 18 seconds on it. So that's a great outcome in our view. So it shows you that people are very interested in Center County. Okay, we'll go next. We also partner a lot with Expedia. We have Center County Hotel and Bed and Breakfast deals available on their website that people can click through to, and it generated 1,709 room nights. A similar promotion the year before didn't generate anywhere near that. And then we also pay attention to short-term rental bookings, July of 21 versus August of 21. Now keep in mind that people were traveling in July of 2020, even though the pandemic was still raging at that point. People were getting away to Airbnb and VRBO listings, especially in places like Center County, because people from the cities, metropolitan areas, were kind of fleeing those areas and they could work remotely. So our product up here was actually pretty appealing to them. But nevertheless, we did twice as well as a result of this promotion. So that indicates to me that our short-term rental offerings here in Center County are really attractive to people, and the ability to expose them was important. This is that college town ranking that I was talking about. We started benchmarking ourselves in April of last year against these towns because we wanted to see how this pandemic was going to affect us versus other similar college communities. So you can see we chose Ann Arbor and Lafayette, where Purdue's located, Bloomington, Tuscaloosa, Columbia, Missouri, Athens, Georgia, South Bend, Indiana, Notre Dame's home, of course, and College Station, Texas A&M. As I said, we have been in last place in terms of hotel occupancy, which is a major measurement from a tourism standpoint. How are you doing in terms of people coming to visit and staying overnight? And we had been in last place every single month since April 2020. And what that said to us was it exposed how overly dependent we are on Penn State to generate travel to Center County. So this rescue plan money to stimulate a campaign was helpful because it attracted people to come to Center County during that time, and it got us out of the basement and it got us into a competitive position versus some of those other towns. And then we also benchmark ourselves against the state and the United States, and again we were trailing in all through 2020 and then throughout the first half of 21, and then you see we launched the campaign and boom, we pull ahead of the pack, 64.3% hotel occupancy in August versus Pennsylvania and the United States. Really shows the impact. You know, the old adage is advertising works, right? And I think this demonstrated that in a pretty clear way. So, go to the next one. So, in conclusion, we think that it was a successful campaign. We executed it in a very short time frame. We think that we felt that it exceeded our metrics for most of the categories that we, we were flying in the dark a little bit in terms of our coming up with the benchmarks for what we thought was going to be successful. We had never run a campaign in such a short time frame. This was basically affecting the county from late July to early September, and the metrics show that it was successful. I think if we're going but you can only spend so much time looking back. You got to look forward, and you got to look at where you are right now. I think as good as that summer campaign was, we find ourselves in a little bit of a challenging position right now. Companies are still not traveling to the degree we would hope they would, and we've obviously had a resurgence during the late summer and fall that we hope is leveling off. We just saw statistics today that show that people are starting to feel more optimistic about travel at a higher level than they have in the last 50 weeks. So we think we're in a good place to come back with a subsequent campaign. We'll go to the next one, Natalie. Here's why we think we need it. Hotel occupancy, keep in mind that and we're talking basically late November through mid-March, and that's the period we want to affect with the next campaign. Hotel occupancy at that time period, as well as visitation to our attractions, is typically at its lowest point during that time period, and our hotel occupancy is generally between 35% and 55%. We think that absent any stimulus and any additional advertising, we'd actually be lower than that, which would actually make it a challenge to keep the employment levels at the level we want them to. I think a bridge campaign will keep Happy Valley top of mind as consumers seek travel destinations, and a winter campaign will help us to reinforce the notion that this is a four-season destination for leisure travel, sports, and business travel. So you can see that this is a challenging statistic here, business travel, survey of business travel managers. As of the last survey in late September, a pretty low indication that they're going to send their people out on the road for travel from a business standpoint. So we've got to try to make it up with leisure travelers. That's the gist of this situation. So what are the tactics that we would employ? We would largely pour through the successful, the tactics that worked best during the previous campaign, and weed out those that didn't perform as well as others, and put more money into the ones that were really successful. We would shrink the radius of where we're marketing to a smaller radius. Probably would not be in Philadelphia as much. We'd be concentrating on Harrisburg, Lancaster, Hershey, Pittsburgh markets. We see a lot of anecdotal evidence that people from Pittsburgh continue to travel here all year round. And we would also be trying the Erie and Scranton and Williamsport markets pretty substantially, as well as the local market, local and regional market. And what would we be emphasizing? Performing arts, outdoor experiences, performances at the State Theater right here in Bellefonte. We've got Victorian Christmas coming up. We've got a new ice skating rink that will be another reason for people to come to Bellefonte. Got at the Eisenhower Theater, Wynton Marsalis coming in March. Paula Poundstone, comedian, if that's your cup of tea, at the State Theater in March. We've got the Winter Jam Tour, March 4th at the Bryce Jordan Center. We've got resurgent basketball programs, men's and women's, at Penn State. So we'll be building hotel packages around all of those events and marketing and continuing to attract people here to Center County if the commissioners are so disposed as to support our efforts again. So projected results, we believe that we will generate a little over $5 million in visitor spending. Keep in mind, we have to be realistic about the fact that attracting people from a shorter distance than we did during the summer probably going to result in a little bit lower spend, but still, this is new activity, it's new economic impact, and we think very worthwhile investment. And we think we'll generate about 95,000 new room nights. So, with that, be happy to take any questions.
Thank you very much, Fritz.
Sure.
If we could just say, before we open it up for questions, one of the big things that we said when you came into us last year to talk about potential investment with the American Rescue Plan was we'd love to hear about the success of the program. So you've demonstrated today the fact that there has been a positive and beneficial impact to the local economy. Like you said, about $8 million in spend from visitors coming in from outside the area, which is tremendous. Prior to the pandemic, we were on point to be a $1 billion tourism economy. And so we know with the COVID pandemic, it's going to probably take us a little bit of time to get back to that. But I think we recognize around the table here that tourism and our tourism economy, when that's strong, we've got a strong county. We can have good jobs. It attracts investment here. And so I think it's an exciting opportunity we have to invest another $250,000 into this, into your advertising, to, again, retain jobs, strengthen the local economy. So I'm excited that you're coming back to us with demonstratable data points that we can track to make sure that this is a success. So I think we'll look on it favorably, but I'll certainly open it up to any comments from my colleagues.
Sure. Well, Fritz, I also serve on your board. I know you've got hardworking board members and a great staff, but do want to congratulate you, your staff, and your local content creators for, based on metrics comparing to other markets, including in Pennsylvania, we had the best stuff. We made people excited about coming to Center County, which I think is fabulous. Love the 32-to-1 improvement, return on investment. And I very much applaud you for highlighting the performing arts, especially in the winter. Nothing chases away the winter blahs better than seeing dance, live theater, concerts. It really lifts your spirits. And we've got a lot of that here in Center County. And then when you're done, you can go skiing or ice skating in Bellefonte, et cetera. There's just so many great things to do in Center County year-round. So very happy to support the proposal.
Thank you for your service to our board, Commissioner Higgins.
I think it goes without saying that these are jobs that we traditionally have depended on as a community. And when somebody comes in to stay at a hotel, they eat at restaurants, they go out and do other events, they spend time, they spend money, and that's really the lifeblood of what so many families depend on. And we need to keep our finger on the pulse of what we can do to keep our economy strong, because a lot of folks, really, if these jobs collapse, they will never come back. And that's tough on our community, it's tough on our families. So I think this is a good investment, and I think you've definitely demonstrated that the numbers work out. And I think, as my fellow commissioners have indicated, I think it's a good investment, but at this time I think it's one that's incredibly necessary for us to maintain a vital local economy. And I think you've successfully accomplished the first round. Now we have to go after round two. So,
Thank you, Commissioner Dersham. I appreciate your support.
And then, so we'll take any public comment at this time. Was there any public comment? Questions? Okay. Any questions from our media before Fritz departs? Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank
Fritz.
you again to the
Yes,
commissioners.
Absolutely, yes.
And we appreciate your support.
Absolutely. Indeed. So at this time, we'll look for a motion.
Motion to approve the allocation of the American Rescue Plan Act funds for items 1 through 3.
I will second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 The motion is carried. Thank you again, Fritz. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Looking forward to the continued partnership. Okay, we'll turn it back to Administrator Gray for our correctional facility item.
Okay, thank you. This item is an intergovernmental housing agreement designating the Center County Correctional Facility as a facility for the housing of Franklin County inmates. The contract rate is $65 per day for the period of November 18th, 2021 through December 31st, 2023. This agreement is similar to the agreement that we hold with many different counties across the Commonwealth who depend on us for services, the services of our correctional facility.
Thank you, Margaret. Any questions on this?
I'm very, very happy to help out our sister counties.
Look for a motion at this time.
Motion to add the intergovernmental housing agreement with Franklin County to the Thursday, November 18th consent agenda.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion or questions? Okay, seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried. Thank you, Margaret. At this time, we'll welcome up our Director of Facilities Management, Lee Shaver, to discuss some items here. Good morning, Lee.
Good morning. Thank you all. Item number 1, we are looking to give notice of the termination of the contract with State Industrial Products. They were providing some service to our cooling towers and whatnot. So with some issues that we've been having, we are looking to terminate that reoccurring contract.
Okay. Thank you, Lee. And this will give them provided necessary days of
30 days
Okay,
notice,
thank you.
correct.
We look for a motion for that.
Motion to approve the notice of contract termination for State Industrial Products Corp.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried. Okay.
So item 1 leads to item 2, and that would be an agreement with Proasis to provide those services to our cooling towers through the cooling cycles. That agreement in total would be $29,672.64 for the period of January 1, 2022 through December 31 of 2025.
Thank you, Lee. And if you wanted to do the third one as well?
Sure. And that'll be a contract renewal with Rent-A-Kill, known as Ehrlich, for the commercial pest control at the buildings listed Courthouse, Sheriff's Office, Annex, Willowbank, the Old Center Crest facility, and the correctional facility. That contract total is $13,287 for the period from January 1, 2022 through December 31 of 2024.
Okay. Thank you, Lee. Any questions or comments on that? Okay. We look for a motion for items 2 and 3.
Motion to add facilities management items 1 through 3 is what's on the notes here.
Should be 2 through
2 through 3. Motion to add facilities management's items 2 and 3 to the Thursday, November 18th consent agenda.
I will second that.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 The motion is carried. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Lee.
Thank you.
At this time, we'll welcome up Chris Schnurr from our Planning and Community Development Office for 2 MOUs. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning. Thank you very much. There are 2 memorandum of understandings on the agenda for today, but before I get into explaining those 2, just want to remind everyone that the MOUs that are being presented today represents a 3-party agreement between the developer, township, and the county, whereby the developer agrees to reimburse, in this case, Benner Township, this is where the developments are located, for the costs associated with the township engineers processing, reviewing, inspecting, and approving the engineering details. Now on to the 2 MOUs, and they're both located at the same site, and it's located at the village of Nittany Glen in Benner Township. To give a sense of where this is located, this is University Park Airport, and as you're heading southwest, you're going to make your way to Toft Trees, and along Fillmore Road, you're going to go maybe a half a mile or so, then this is the village of Nittany Glen. And the 2 MOUs represent Phase 6, which is in this corner, and then Phase 7 going to fill up that area of the village of Nittany Glen.
And I think Lee Farm Cafe was
It is. It's, I think it's right there, I think, in that part of Patton. Right. What you see on the screen is all the phases that are part of the village of Nittany Glen. It's a little busy, but when you look at it, all the green areas have been approved. There's only 3 phases that remain, Phase 7, Phase 6, and then future Phase 3A. And again, these are the 2, 6 and 7, that are going to be discussed in today. And the next slide represents Phase 6, simply showing a Kephart Street will be constructed along with, these are all single-family units and numerous fire hydrants that are being proposed. And just to the west is Fillmore Road, and this is Red Spire, which is the main entrance you get into the village of Nittany Glen with the community center at that location. And then the next slide represents Phase 7. Again, in this case, it's a loop street called Acer Avenue. Most of the duplexes are located within the center of Acer Street, with the perimeter on the north being the single-family homes. And those are the 2 memorandum of understandings that are being considered for today. Thanks, Natalie.
Thank you very much, Chris. Any questions or comments on the 2 MOUs? No. All right, we look for a motion then.
Motion to add the MOUs for the Village of Nittany Glen to the Thursday, November 18th consent agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion on that? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion is carried. Chris, thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
You too, thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
Okay. Under our grant section, we have an item for our CYS office. We welcome members of our CYS office.
Good morning. We are here to ask for approval of a Plans of Safe Care grant. It's for $60,000 over a year and a half. So I brought up our Tara Peters, who is our supervisor for quality assurance, and she's going to explain a little bit about what Plans of Safe Care is, who our partners are in this grant, and what we're going to use the money for.
So Plans of Safe Care grant is really targeting substance-affected infants and their parents and or caregivers. So through the use of the grant and our community partners, we're hoping to be able to target some of those substance-affected infants even prior to birth. Some of our community partners include Center County Drug and Alcohol, Early Intervention, Mount Nittany Health, Youth Service Bureau. So our plan with the money is to provide some community education and training so that we can really target and have plans developed for these infants prior to delivery. The problem is once they are born and there is no plan developed, then we have staff that are sometimes going up to the hospital within 24 hours of child being born, and we know how difficult and challenging that is for our family. So we're really hoping to be able to target those infants prior. Substance-affected infants include prescription medications, illegal drugs, as well as unprescribed medications that people may take.
So what we're really looking for is to use this money to educate doctors and other community members that would come in contact, potentially come in contact or come in contact afterwards with these families, so that as a family they can develop their own plan, which would hopefully divert them from the child welfare system and really have a more organic plan for them as to how they're going to take care of the child. So it's not necessarily relying on children and youth services to come in and basically sometimes dictate what needs to happen. And this would give an opportunity for families to work with those other entities such as drug and alcohol or early intervention to really meet the needs of the entire family.
I think the challenges that CYS faces, we know they're, incomprehensible, and this is one that continues to be and have an effect on our community and the people who live in it. And so we appreciate you bringing forward this, although it's such a painful thing to talk about and think about. It does happen in our community, and we need to face it and confront it and realize that it is something that happens. And if we can at least make some sort of beneficial impact for these families and these kids, that hopefully we'll be giving them a better life at some point. And so we appreciate you bringing this before us. It's a great fact that the state's investing in this and recognizing the fact that this is something, again, that we need more funding for. And so we hope it's the first time we're getting the grant. So we hope it's successful, and look forward to, again, having successes in this area. So thank you both for being here and presenting this. Thank you.
So Julie, it's a great grant, but I wanted to bring up something else. The The holidays are coming up. A lot of
Yes.
people are looking for potential charitable organizations to give money to. I know Center County government has a fund specifically for our foster children. Can you give us a sentence or two on that?
Sure. So we have the Ethel Beaver Fund. The Ethel Beaver Fund is really a fund that is governed by the Children and Youth Services Advisory Board. And what that fund is, 100%, or the majority of the funds go towards making sure that we're able to provide the extras in life for our foster children. So a lot of times foster families have the children come into their home, but it's really difficult to do things like go on trips with extra children or provide, for participation in sports or presents and all of these things. And that fund is used to support that. We pay our foster parents a stipend, but it's not nearly enough to really absorb the entire cost of having children in your home. And when you look at that, that's a big undertaking for a family to accept a child into their home. And then on top of that, to look at sports and,
Music lessons.
correct, all of those things.
Prom.
Yes, yearbooks, all of those extra things, and that's what that fund is used for. And the advisory board, like I said, they govern the funds, they distribute the funds, and so especially at this time of year, we do provide a stipend for each foster child, a certain amount of money to be used for Christmas, so that we make sure that there are funds available for them to have presents and things like that. So yes, that is the Ethel Beaver Fund.
We have a way to donate via the website, I believe, is a
Yes.
a way to donate, but there also, checks can be also brought in or mailed to the office, so certainly encourage people to do that as well, but thank you for highlighting
And
that.
it's also a choice you can make as when you serve on jury duty. If you
Yes.
would like your funds
Yeah,
to go to
yeah,
Ethel
that's where my
Beaver,
money went.
it's another way to support foster parents.
I just want to say thank you. First of all, I know how hard you folks work, and having appreciated that over many years, and Julie, your leadership in that office has been extraordinary, and I've worked closely with Tara on the Hope Initiative over the years, and I've seen what kind of impact that you can have on families. But this is an opportunity, I think, through this grant to be proactive rather than reactive. You live in a reactive world. When a problem comes to you, you figure out how to deal with it. But this is one of those times where you might be able to get ahead of an issue that traditionally that you would have dealt with upon birth, particularly. But I really appreciate that, and I know this is going to be a success. I think it has all the pinnings of something that will be a really good use of the taxpayer funds, and I'm happy to support it. But I just want to say thank you for all the hard work that your whole office does, and whether it's foster care or it's dealing with children in crisis and such as this. The quicker we can get to answers to some of these problems, the better the outcomes are going to be. And I think this is one of those opportunities. I think it really has a great shining moment ahead. So good luck, and thank you for bringing it to our attention.
Thank you.
With that, we look for a motion at this time.
Motion to approve the Plans of Safe Care Support Grant Agreement with the Department of Human Services.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Any final comments or questions? Okay. Hearing and seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried. Thank you, Julia. Thank you, Tara.
Thank you
Thanks.
for
Keep up the good work.
Yes.
We look for a motion to approve today's consent agenda.
Motion to approve this week's consent agenda.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Any final discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 The motion has carried. Any administrator's report today, Margaret?
Just one item I'd like to mention again. We talked earlier on the agenda about money for the AMI testing site, but it's important to get the word out that that testing site does remain open, and the plans are to keep it open through the holiday season. So we're going to do our best to make sure that people know that there will be some changed hours for the Thanksgiving holiday, but the Department of Health at this point is planning to keep this site here in Center County through the beginning of the calendar year at least. So we're very fortunate to have this partnership with DOH and AMI, and they're staying longer than we had anticipated, and we are, as I said, very grateful for that, but need to get the word out so people know, especially as they're traveling over the holidays.
Excellent.
Okay, thanks for the
Yep. Yep.
Okay, and we'll turn it over to Commissioner Higgins for a check.
Sure, we have an average size check run in the amount of $1,487,422.32. And based on Fritz's presentation, I actually sort of changed the check of the week on the fly. So I'll be going with a check to Downtown Bellefonte, Inc. for $10,633.55. Bellefonte is now a very vibrant, bustling, popular community here in Center County. Downtown Bellefonte's done a lot of great things to bring people to the town. And also, some of you who get State College Magazine might notice that a substantial fraction of the best of state college businesses are actually located in Bellefonte now. So would like to make the motion to approve the check run dated November 12th.
I will second that.
All right, been moved and seconded. Any final discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 The motion is carried. We have one CNET request, and that is for the sponsorship of 2 meetings of the Spring Creek Watershed Commission. We historically have done this, and so we would again look for to make a motion to sponsor the Spring Creek Watershed Commission meetings.
Motion to approve the sponsorship of the Spring Creek Watershed Commission meetings.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 The motion is carried. Okay. And Commissioner Dershowitz, any voter registration updates?
I don't have a voter registration report per se this morning. However, I would like to note that we will be participating in the statewide Commonwealth Court race recount. That'll begin tomorrow. Just when we thought we had the election wrapped up, we're back recounting it. And I just want to say thank you to the folks at ES&S because this morning, I guess we do have what is called an 850 counting device, a tabulating device, which the way the rules of the road go for recounts, you can't count the ballots on the same machine you used the first time. And that makes it sort of problematic for us when we did so many of the mail-in ballots on the 450, the DS 450s, and we've tried to figure out a way to either get a whole ton of people to run them in manually one at a time, or we upgraded to what's called an DS 850, which is the high speed reader, and we have one of those in our possession. So that should make the state or the state mandated recount go much easier for us, and hopefully we'll get the results tabulated that much quicker, because we have to count every ballot that we received. And we will be having a election board meeting this afternoon to kind of consecrate all those processes, but I just wanted to let you know that the recount does start tomorrow.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner. We do want to announce that next Tuesday's meeting for the Board of Commissioners is canceled due to the CCAP conference, and also we will be closed from Thursday and Friday, November 25th and 26th in observance of Thanksgiving. Do we have any executive sessions to report today, Margaret?
There are no executive sessions to report today.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the press before we adjourn our meeting?
Does the state provide funding for that recount, or is that up to the county?
In theory, yes, they do. Whether it will be sufficient, we'll find out. But primarily, and what our main concern is right now, is that we have the tools and the technology available to make sure that we get it done promptly and accurately.
The other elements of the election, specifically the write-ins, are you done with them?
Yes, everything's been tabulated, yes. The official certification will be on Friday.
Any other questions at this time? Okay, seeing none. We look then for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn at 10:58.
All those in favor of adjourn, do so by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried. Thank you all very much. Have a great day.